Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is one of the most beloved players by Dolphins fans. In fact, Tua may be one of the most popular players in Miami Dolphins history. Younger fans and even some older fans have been swept up by the mania surrounding the young quarterback. His supporters on X Twitter are legion, and they never miss a chance to hail him and protect him. Tua has reached an almost deified stature on X, and all who dare shine any light on his mistakes and poor performance are immediately attacked. But what if I told you that these rabid fans may indeed be the reason why many in the media and fans who think otherwise think the way that they do? What would happen if people were free to support Tua's success and question Tua's weaknesses? What would happen if people actually celebrated his success and at the same time engaged in critical and objective debate without fear of denigration? What if people accepted an attitude where respect is given when earned and criticism is discussed when deserved? Today, we're going to do just that, and you're invited to help each other answer the questions about Tua Tagovailoa. And I do invite you to engage. Be nice. It's this time of year. Let's not attack people in the comments if they have a different perspective. Let's not attack me if I have a different perspective, because I know I have. I know for almost a year now I've had somewhat of a different perspective than some people have. People have gotten mad, but we're all entitled to our opinions. And with everything crazy going on in the world, it seems like this time of year we can take someone's opinion and go, yeah, I hear you. I don't agree with you, but at least I hear you. And here's my opinion. That's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who want to exchange ideology. And I'm going to put some questions to you tonight. I'm going to take some things from you. And just remember, my ideology is this. And it's not just for Tua, but I'll just put it up there. Respect when earned, criticism when deserved. Respect when earned, criticism when deserved. And that's how I just judge everything. I watch every single game. I watch every single play. I tear down each play. I do my breakdowns. And I go, oh, that was pretty good. Ooh, that was a mistake. Oh, that needs to get cleaned up. Ooh, that needs to get fixed. And when I look at things that way, I have a really objective mind to it. And I'm not sold all in as a crazed fan. I don't gamble on the games. I don't believe he walks on water. I believe he's a man like the rest of us. He basically is a good quarterback, great person. There's no aspersions that I cast on him as a person. Everything we've known and everything we've seen shows that he is a great person. Missing a chunk out of his arm right now, so I don't know how they're going to fix that. But other than that, everything else in my mind is up for discussion. Everything else, every single play, single thing posted on Twitter, every single thing posted on YouTube, we should be able to discuss it and discuss it civilly. If you don't, that's fine too. But at least that's the groundwork. That's where I'm starting from, and that's where I'm going to take things tonight in terms of where we're going to be talking. So I'm going to get to some comments in a second, but I want to get to the first piece. And the first piece I want to talk about, this was from Ryan Clark, something he posted on X/Twitter. Two of the best teams in football have not beaten a team yet with a winning record, but Dallas and Miami beat all the teams they're supposed to beat the way they should beat them. How much stock, this is the big question, I'm going to pose it to you now. I'm asking you, how much stock can we put in the wins, or do the losses to good teams matter more? So I'm going to answer that question first. How much stock can we put in the wins, or do the losses to the good teams matter more? Me, personally, I've always felt that iron sharpens iron. I want to play against the best. I want to face the best. I want to tangle with the best, because that tells me how I'm doing. I was 6'2 and a half, 340 pounds. I could bench press 585 pounds. It did nothing for me to go up against some guy weighing 220, 230 who, I could just blow across the field and not even work hard. it didn't mean anything if we scored 30 points on somebody like that. I wanted to know I was going up against an All-American. I wanted to know when I would get to face those guys that were going to be competitive with me, because that would make me better as the season went on. So I firmly believe in what Ryan Clark is asking here. I firmly believe that losses to good teams matter much more than padding stats against feeble teams. And I know some of the argument that some people make, which is absurd. Don't use the whataboutism. I don't care that XYZ team didn't beat this team. I want to talk about the performance of the Dolphins against those three teams: Buffalo, Philadelphia, and Kansas City. Because those are, I don't care how you strike it. Some people are saying that Denver is now a winning team, which is funny because can you imagine if Denver continues to be hot and in the playoffs, the Dolphins have to play the Broncos in a rematch? Can you even fathom that? I don't want to see that game whatsoever. I do not want to see a game played against a team we beat, embarrassed by 50 points. Don't want to see it. You don't want, trust me, you do not want to see a rematch of the Denver Broncos and the Miami Dolphins. You don't want to see it. It's something that I'm just hoping the trend doesn't go that way, and I hope that, it could very well happen that those teams meet again, and I think that would be disastrous, absolutely disastrous. Okay, so let me ask you, let me take some comments. Do you put more stock in the wins, or do you put more stock in the losses? And I don't mean to even be critical. I'm talking about, are you seeing from the losses what you need to improve upon to actually compete and go further? So let's look. Excuse me. Let's look at some of this stuff. Real Mendez says, hopefully this pops up, and there it is. Yeah, Tua, I believe, did good against Philly. Okay, I see where you're coming from. Brett Dodger, hello, Brett. Finns are a very good team so far, but to be great, they do need to beat the best teams. Absolutely. You're going to have to, remember, in order to get to a Super Bowl, you're going to have to run the table or 3 or 4 games in a row against the top teams. There is no day off. There is no schedule where there's a cupcake. Every single game through the playoffs, you're going to face a team that's equal or better than you, and you have to play those games. Let's see here. Spencer says, naturally losses help you see what's going on underneath the hood. Wins should be a baseline of expectations. Absolutely. Where was Daniels? Daniel had a good one. Need to quit turning the ball over. That in itself, good teams don't consistently do. Yeah, you'll have a turnover here or there, but you see them mounting lately, and they're mounting against the bad teams. But one of the questions I'm going to ask you later, whose fault is that? Is that Tua's fault, or is it Mike McDaniels' fault? Because I've been looking at some things, and I'll share with you. What's up, California? MTG, hello. Bills beat us. Tyreek lost that one for us. Ref stole that one from us, so we're on the verge of greatness. All right, so let me address that. Tyreek didn't lose the game. No one player loses a game on one play. Doesn't happen. You're playing 60 minutes. You're running all your plays. There's all kinds of time to execute and make mistakes. Just because the last mistake or the most visible mistake means a touchdown doesn't mean that one person lost the game. Can't say that. As for refs, and I don't know if you've been watching the NFL, the refs are a problem throughout the league. Every single team today can say the ref screwed me. So what's that mean? If that's the constant, then it's no longer to be used as an excuse, because everybody is facing dog crap refereeism. The refs are just completely, I don't know what the NFL is going to do. They have a serious problem with referees at this point. It's affecting too many games, too many crucial games. Those of you who may have watched the Buffalo-Philadelphia game, it affected that. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I don't think we can use those kinds of excuses. Defense needs to get off to better starts against good squads. Tired of seeing teams set the tone marching down the field on the first drive. Jalen Ramsey, I forget which game he came back. I think it might have been a Patriots game, right? So what you're seeing is the defense, even though Jalen Ramsey's back and Javon Holland runs back the long touchdown, is injuries. Obviously, JP, he's gone. Some of the other guys are back and forth. And also, they haven't faced a great team collectively as of yet. Did a great job in Kansas City, shut down Patrick Mahomes in the second half. But you're right. First half, they got beat up on. What's up, Dolphins Thursday? Fins up. Yes, it was the Pats. Okay, that's pretty much what I saw. See, this is the kind of where is that? This is the kind of thing that I think gets people in trouble. Our defense is ranked number 1 overall since week 5. We're in this part of the season right now. I'm going to show you some things. We are in the part of the season where none of that really matters anymore. None of the rankings, highest. Do you know? Let me ask you this, just to show you how rankings don't matter. Do you guys know who the number 1 passing yardage leader is in the NFL as of today? Let me see if that pops up. Let me see if you guys know, without having to Google it, who the number 1 passing yardage leader is in the NFL. You want to talk about stats and rankings and why I say they don't matter? Bingo, absolutely. The number one quarterback in the league right now for passing yards isn't Tua. It's Sam Howell from the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell is number 1. And I guarantee you, if I asked any of you guys in here, do you think Sam Howell is better than Tua? People would be like, they'd laugh at me. Of course not. Of course not. Tua is much better. But hey, Sam Howell's number 1. You see how stats can get you in trouble? Sam Howell is the number 1 passer. Do you know who's number 2? I believe number 2, if I remember right, is C.J. Stroud. He's a rookie on a losing team, but those guys have more yards than Tua. So Tua's like 3 or 4. I mean, I've got some stats here to show you, but that's why I don't put too much credence in rankings. I want to see the execution on the actual game, the field, because these stats can be misleading. I don't think anybody thinks Sam Howell this weekend is going to outduel Tua Tagovailoa. I don't think FanDuel would even take a line on that, saying that, oh yeah, Sam Howell and the Commanders are going to outpass and outdo everything on offense against Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, etc. I don't think anyone's going to say that. I just don't think you can say that. That's why. Yeah, but see, Eric, that's another excuse. Garbage time passing for Howell. If I can remember, I think Tua played into the 4th quarter in just about every single game except for Denver. When they beat Denver by 50 points, are those stats garbage stats? Think about it. I mean, what did they do against that in that game? How many touchdowns? 10 touchdowns? Were those garbage stats? So you can't look at things just through, the aqua and orange colored lens, because as of today, Sam Howell is the number 1 passing quarterback in the NFL. It is what it is. So again, it goes back to that question or the comment that the guy said about, we got the number 1 defense. It doesn't matter. You got to go out there and play the game. And so in order to go out there and play the game, you have to do the things that you need to do to execute. You've got to make that stuff happen. What did he say here? Even if Sam Howell has more passing yards, he has 450 attempts and more interceptions than an extra game. Even if you remove Howell from the mix, C.J. Stroud, Tua, Allen, and Goff are still up there. So, doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You just gave a whole bunch of asterisks, if, move this, change that. The bottom line is, when you look at the stat list, he's number 1. Number 1. And so that's that's the basis for what I'm saying. So let me move on to something, since we're talking about stats. And this is a stat that's probably going to freak a lot of people out. So this weekend, we're moving into December. And it's not Halloween, but it's a scary, scary, scary thing. Check out what Joe Shad posted this, and it freaked people out to the point where they were screaming, "Take it down, take it down." Tua Tagovailoa's career passing rating by month. Career. September 110. Comes out the box hot. October 100.1. November 105.5. Then look what happens in December and January. But wait. I know what people are going to say. He hasn't played that much in December and January. Well, that's a problem. That is absolutely a problem and something he has to change. But you can't change these numbers. They are what they are. They're problematic. If you want to excuse away and say he was hurt, Brian Flores put a cap on him and put him in a box. He wasn't able to be himself. The offense back then sucked. I mean, I've seen people talk about things all the time. The bottom line is you can't change the numbers. You can make excuses for them. You can say it's not relevant. You can again put asterisk all you want on them. Those are the actual numbers. Those are the drop-offs. That's what Tua has to change in December and hopefully January. That's what he's looking at. He's like, hey, Tua, I understand you got hurt in Green Bay. There are some people who feel that you were actually taken out of the game and they blamed it on a concussion. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to give you that asterisk. I'm going to say you got a concussion. You had the longest concussion ever in 5 weeks. They didn't put you back on the field, but nonetheless, you had a concussion. Took you out of most of December and all of January. You were done. Hence, those are the numbers as they are right now. Doesn't mean they're wrong. Doesn't mean anything other than one fact, they have to improve. I think 100% of you guys will agree that regardless of the reason why they're so low, why they're so terrible, abysmal in December and January, it doesn't matter. The one thing that matters is they must improve. If you look at things correctly, and I do mean correctly, that's the only thing you have to look at. Whatever the reason was, he was hurt, the offense sucked, doesn't matter. The bottom line is those numbers have to improve if this team is going to go far in the playoffs. There's no doubt. Does anybody doubt that those numbers have to improve? Is it bad to say those numbers have to improve? I know some of you are going to say, I think they will. I know they will. I feel they will. Okay, then they have to. They must improve. That's not trolling. That's not being negative. That's not being a hater. That's looking at the actual numbers and saying there's only one thing that's going to change that. Nothing else but good play. And everybody is expecting Tua and Mike McDaniel to do something and get that good play going, but you have to do it. Your numbers in December and January show that you're not what's the word we'd say, primetime quarterback. You're not ready for prime time. This is primetime football. This is where we are. I'd love to see some of you guys. December came early this year. CCR. O-line, yep. I know Teron Armstead is going to try and play. Not sure if he's going to be ready. Sam Howell also played an extra game, so that's relevant. If the Dolphins, here's a good one. If the Dolphins can't beat the Cowboys and Bills at home, then I think they have a problem. The D is trending up. We'll see if Tua can get back to MVP level. Okay, I could see that. Let's see, Miami Dolphins dude says Barry Tua has to improve. High passing yards are expected in this offense. He needs to do more, step up in bad situations, and get us to win like Hurts did. That is what you have to do. Philadelphia is 10-1 right now for whatever reason. However they got there, they are 10-1. And if you watch that game, if you watch that Buffalo Bills Eagles game, there was something I saw in Jalen Hurts that I haven't yet seen in Tua. Do you realize at the end of the game when they were getting ready to try the 59-yard field goal and they put the camera on Jalen Hurts and guy kicks a 59-yard field goal, you would not have known that by looking at Jalen's face. He was ready. He had game face. He was going back on. And then, of course, at the end of the game, he was determined to win it. And he won it with his legs. if you notice the quarterbacks that are moving up, Josh Allen even had a phenomenal game. That worries me coming into the second Buffalo game, because Buffalo, don't count them out. At 6-6, they could go on a run and get in, and once you get into the playoffs, things would change. Barry, the official, unofficial announcer. Yes, I understand. Sam Howell played an extra game. I understand that. What else we got here? Alex Adam, thank you. Thank you very much. I like how you're presenting this. Thank you. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Oh, yeah, and by the way.
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
Let me go here. Okay, I like this one. Let me see if I can read it. When a great team shuts down your pass and run game, a playoff caliber team has a quarterback that can get 10 or 12 yards with his legs. Buffalo has Allen, KC has Mahomes, Philly has Hurts. All three beat us. That you can go ahead and frame. That is huge. When you start talking about, did you see what the weather was in that game? It was raining, it was cold, and those quarterbacks, basically both of them, put those teams on their backs and said, we're going to go get this. And I think that is the one thing that Mike McDaniel holds Tua back with, is that they're all mobile quarterbacks. At some point, the quarterback has to pull down the ball and take off and get 10 or 12 yards. We'll yet to see if that's going to help. Oh, wow. Thank you, Frederick. Thank you very much for saying that. All right, so let me move on to the next thing I want to show you. You guys all know Omar Kelly. Some of you guys like him. Some of you guys dislike him. But he wrote a piece, which was very interesting. And here was Omar's piece. Let's look at this. Dolphins need Tua to find the next level. And I've highlighted some paragraphs in here that I want to show you guys. It says, if the Dolphins plan to avoid last year's December slide, which we saw in that previous stat, he went down, the team will need better quarterbacking from Tua during this critical stretch. Of course. There's a next level of football, a volume button to be turned up with quarterbacking that transforms a good to great and helps the game managers evolve into NFL elites. Obviously, from what we've seen, everyone, well, I guess everyone won't, but you have to understand Tua is not in elite status yet. He has not won a playoff game. In fact, he's not even played in a whole bunch. He missed last year. So they're hoping he can evolve into, quote, an elite quarterback. And this is what's really important. And Tua Tagovailoa knows he hasn't unlocked that yet. He hasn't turned that dial to become an elite quarterback. December football, this is really important. December football is where the contenders separate themselves from the pretenders, and we'll soon learn plenty about these Dolphins and the player they believe is their franchise quarterback. He is going to be put front and center. Tua is going to be on a podium, on a platform, on a dais. All eyes are on Tua for the next 6 games. This team is only going to go as far as he takes them. Period. That's how far this team is going to go. And he's only going to go from MVP or elite status depending on how he plays. A healthy Tua Tagovailoa has what it takes and he definitely does. He has the skills to enter the upper stratosphere of NFL quarterbacks. He spent most of the first half of 2023 as one of the front runners for the league's most valuable player. But his performance these past few weeks has silenced those talks. He's no longer being mentioned as an MVP candidate. It's off the table right now until he comes back out and proves himself. You're not going to be able to prove yourself against Washington Commanders. It's unlikely you're going to prove yourself against the Tennessee Titans. That's not really going to happen. Buffalo, Dallas Cowboys, Ravens, that's how you're going to get that cred, that street cred. Why? Because Tua Tagovailoa hasn't been good enough to carry the franchise. Ouch. In Miami's loss to Philadelphia, he threw an interception near the end zone on what could have been a game-tying drive in the fourth quarter. in 21-14 loss to Kansas City. Tua misfired on a third down pass to a wide open Cedric Wilson. You guys saw that on a play that could have tied the game. And then on fourth down of the same series, he mishandled an off-the-mark snap from center Connor Williams, missing out the chance to hit a wide open Jaylen Waddle, and the offense's final play ended with him fumbling the snap. Two problems with that. I'm going to take you two problems with that. One, people keep saying it was a bad snap by Connor. It's not. This isn't target practice. It's not an exact science. The center got the ball back. Tua should have caught it. Number two, on the chance to hit a wide open Jaylen Waddle, he wasn't open. I've done a video on that, and I showed you that basically the safety just stopped playing when he saw the fumbled snap. So he would have been right on Jaylen Waddle. He just didn't play the rest of the snap because he saw what had happened. The problem with that play, and some of you guys may have looked into it since then, was Mike McDaniel. The play call right then and there was against a zero blitz. I don't know if you guys know what a zero blitz is, but I'll tell you, zero blitz is basically they're bringing everybody. They're going man-to-man outside, and they're bringing everybody. So something happened on that play that happened against the Jets that has shown a tendency here. I'm going to come back to that. See if you remember that. Zero blitz. Tua tried to go with the play, got discombobulated, fumbled the snap, game over. But when you walked up to the line, you saw there was a zero blitz. Just keep that in mind when I come back to that zero blitz formation. Let's continue here. In Miami's 20-13 win over the Raiders, he threw an interception and lost a fumble on a scramble. And in Friday's 34-13 win over the Jets, a performance where he produced his lowest passer rating of the season, Tua threw 2 interceptions at the end of the half. And I think that's all okay, down here. Elite quarterbacks take care of the football, protecting possessions, and they rise to the occasion, delivering big throws and clutch plays when the game is in the balance. And as somebody else already commented, in addition to that, they run. They run and they take off when things aren't going right. That's an option for them. Let's continue here. One of the biggest obstacles he's had to climb is frustration. Now this is where a lot of people are going to get pissed off at me, because what he wrote right here and what the quotes are really, really concern me. One of the biggest obstacles he's had to climb is frustration within his own game and making sure that frustration doesn't linger. Mike McDaniels said this about Tua. Quote, he's as accountable of a player as there is. He's absolutely positively so angry with himself in those moments. Read that again. One of his biggest obstacles he's had to climb is frustration within his own game and making sure that frustration doesn't linger. And then he gets positively so angry with himself in those moments. You guys see a problem there? Come on, man. You guys see a problem there? We're going to have to talk about that. We definitely have to talk about that. But Tua knows there's a next level to his game that he's been unable to unlock. Until he does, the Dolphins' Super Bowl talk will remain just that, talk. He must find the type of quarterbacking that separates the Patrick Mahomeses, the Tom Bradys, Alex Smiths, and Matt Ryan of the NFL. I don't know if I would have included those guys, but I would have said, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and some of those guys. So, do you know what separates those guys? Tom Brady could throw an interception, he could throw an iPad and get pissed off the way somebody does, and within 1 or 2 plays, it's over, it's done, don't want to think about it. Patrick Mahomes might get pissed off at these receivers dropping passes against him. It's over, we got to deal with it, let's go. Are you telling me that an NFL quarterback hangs on to the point of his frustration where it lingers? These are Mike McDaniel's words, where it lingers, and he's so positively upset. This is a quote, and it just jumped off the page to me, and it really, really concerned me. his biggest obstacles he's had to climb is frustration within his own game and making sure that doesn't linger. He absolutely, positively gets so angry with himself in those moments. That's a problem. That's a problem. You have to be cool as a cucumber. The interception you threw, it can't be on your mind when you walk back on the field. Can't. That missed block that you made can't be on your mind when you walk back on the field. That field goal that you missed can't be on your mind when you attempt the next kick. You cannot, as a professional football player, have things linger and have things to the point where you're frustrated and it's going over into the next series. How many defensive coordinators probably read this and went, wait a second, so we get this guy frustrated, it's just going to linger, it's going to get to his game? That's kind of scary. I know all the stories. I know the stories where Mike McDaniel made the 700 play tape and he had to encourage Tua to understand you're good. And then Tua looked in the mirror and say, do I suck? Stuff is starting to add up at this point, and a lot of people are now talking, going, wait a minute, man. You shouldn't have to be coddling an elite NFL quarterback. Elite NFL quarterbacks don't remember the interception from last series. Elite NFL quarterbacks don't remember the fumble from last series. They're ready to just attack. They're not sitting around going, oh my God, what did I do? Oh, I don't understand it. I got to fix this. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? He gets positively angry with himself in those moments. This is where the 2-9 crowd and I just completely dissipate, because I was a center. And if my quarterback acted like that, I probably would have whacked him in the helmet. That or in the gut. Wake up. Like Cher did in that movie. Snap out of it. That was one play. I need you for the next series. Yeah, that's over. That's done. You can't change it. You threw an interception. You missed Cedric Wilson. Forget about it. It's over. It's done. I got to sit here and pat you and tell you it's gonna be okay. You're gonna get through it. It's gonna get better. I promise you, it's gonna get better. Are you kidding me? Are you? These are quotes. I'm not making it up. Hey, Barry, you're making a big thing. No, those are quotes. Omar put this in his article for a reason. One of the biggest obstacles, he's had to climb is frustration within his own game and making sure that doesn't linger. He absolutely, positively is so angry with himself in these moments. It sounds like he's talking about a high school quarterback. I guarantee you, if you go ahead and search the entire internet, you are not going to find stories like that about Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Just name your all-star elite quarterback. Yeah, does he get mad? Yeah, he's going to break a iPad or something, or scream at somebody for missing a block. But then immediately, I got to get ready for the next series. There's no lingering. There's no obstacle. There's no frustration. My 32, 53, how many guys that are counting on you need me to have a clear head when I walk back out there on the field. And that's where the problem is. That's where you get this. Because in December and January, you're playing against teams that are going to rock your boat. Mentally, physically, that's where the challenge comes in. So, Barry, when people say, hey, you hate Tua? No, I obviously don't hate Tua. I recognize football, I see things, and I understand what needs to change. Tua, and especially Mike, you can't hold his hand. If he's not prepared to get to the next level, you can't hold his hands. When Omar wrote that article, he goes, is that what happened last year in December? That you had to keep him out for the entire 5 weeks? The concussion was well over, but you didn't want to push him because he was frustrated? I don't know. But it leads you to think about it. So I know I'm going to get blasted here. I can't wait to see comments here. Do I think... where is this here? Hold on. Do I think that Tua can be an elite quarterback? I'm just curious. He's in a really good tier for me, but I'm hesitant to call him elite. Well, you're not elite until you win a trophy. You're not elite until you win playoff games. You're definitely not elite if you're frustrated and upset and angry on the sidelines after making a mistake. I mean, just think about it. There's an old saying by Wayne Gretzky. I think it was Wayne Gretzky that you miss X percent of the shots you don't take. There's another quote by Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan said, "I was counted on to do this to win a game, and I failed 70% of the time." You think Michael Jordan cared? I'm taking a shot. I'm getting up there and I'm taking the shot. Go ahead and Google that quote by Michael Jordan. It's been in my head. I've missed this many. It's an amazing quote where he tells you how many times he missed the game-winning shot. But damn if I don't want the ball in the last minute. I want to take that shot. I want to be that guy, Michael Jordan said, to do that shot. Let me see if I can find it for you. Michael Jordan, it's an amazing quote. Michael Jordan missed shots. And okay, here it is. If it comes up. Yeah. This thing is absolutely amazing. Let me see if I can't pull it up. All right, so this was a quote by Michael Jordan. It says, "I missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeed." Amazing quote. Someone should just put that on Tua's locker and just read that. The greatest basketball player of all time says, "I fail. I have failed over and over and over again. I've missed 9,000 shots. I've lost 300 games. My team asked me to take the game-winning shot 26 times, and I missed it." That to me is champion. That to me is elite, because you can't phase me. I'm just going to keep coming. I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep coming. I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm coming after you. I'm going to give you my best tonight because last night I stunk it up. That's championship football. Let's see. Donnie says we outnumber the Colt at this point. I don't know. That's funny. Yeah, like George, you're absolutely right. Home run hitters have the most strikeouts. Absolutely. So is Tua elite? No, not yet. Can he be? That's up to him, I think. I think he's got this skill set. I think he's got a coach, and I think it's all up to him whether he makes it. Great. Brett, you're absolutely right. When people say I'm a 300 hitter, and as a 300 hitter, I'm in the Hall of Fame in baseball, that means you've done something wrong 70% of the time. 300 means 30%. So you basically failed 70% of the time, and you still are considered an elite ball player if you make a 300 average. That happens because you don't remember the strikeout I just had. You don't remember the guy who caught your line drive. You don't remember the ref or umpire rather who called a sorry ass strikeout on you out of the strike zone. Doesn't matter. I'm here to do a job. I got to do it. That's some of the issue I've had with Tua, is because it's stuff that you don't see in stats. It's those kind of intangibles that I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean you get angry and upset? Defense wins championships. How many rings does Josh Allen have? Nope, he doesn't have rings either, but he's got playoff wins, which Tua doesn't. Calvin Laughlin said he's been here for 53 years. Wow. Josh doesn't have, as you guys know, he doesn't have a Super Bowl. Nope. But he's got playoff wins. Until Tua does that, he's not in Josh's caliber. Clifford Clifford says, I will say it again for the cheap sheets. Compare our current offensive line to past years, hits, pressures, etc. Currently on the season, the O-line is third for sacks allowed and first in fewest quarterback hits. Well, that's what's going to happen when your offense is designed to get rid of the ball in 2.25 seconds. See, there's a bad part of that is when you have to realize that now, if this offense doesn't click in 2.25 seconds, which is insanely fast, there's a problem. And that's what the good teams can do. When you look at stats like you just quoted, go back down to this game where they were able to not let Mike McDaniel have his 2.25, 2.3 seconds offense running. That's not going to, I've said it many times, people yell at me, that's not sustainable. It won't be sustainable in December and January. You will not be able to do the things you're doing today in December and January. It's just not going to happen. I'm telling you that right now. If you think that the playoff caliber defenses are going to allow the stuff that the other teams have been doing all this season, Tyreek running all around, ain't going to happen. It will not happen, and that's what I think people are going to have a problem with, is because they're going to go like, what the hell's going on? How come Tyreek's not zipping his doodah all over the field, getting 42% of Tua's passes? How come it's not happening? Because every single game you play, you're playing against the best guys in the league. Every single game. You're not playing against Washington. You're not playing against Patriots. You're playing against the best every single week. No, Jay, here we go. I don't hang out with TD, man. Those guys don't even bother talking to me anymore. They for whatever reason. I'm just telling you straight fact. You don't want to hear it, that's fine. So let me get some more straight fact. Let's see here. This is the NFL power rankings for this past week. And interesting here, I mean, number one, they have Philadelphia Eagles. Number two, they've got the 49ers at 8-3. Remember, the 49ers lost like 3 or 4 games in a row, but they're back to number two. Number three, the 9-3 Baltimore Ravens. Number 4, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 5, the Dallas Cowboys. And then number 6, the Miami Dolphins. Now, what I found interesting here when I looked at this is Kansas City, AFC, Baltimore Ravens, AFC, and then the other teams are NFC, obviously, Philadelphia Eagles. Then the other thing I found interesting is when they get to the Dolphins, they talk about why the teams are ranked the way they're ranked. You guys can pull this up on ESPN and look at it yourself. But they give their synopsis here. This one's written by Marcel Louis-Jacques. Notice what name is missing? I was shocked. I mean, I looked at this and went, with skill players like Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, and Raheem Mostert, and then they're talking about Jalen Ramsey, and then they're talking about Jalen Phillips, and then they're talking about Jason Sanders, and the quarterback isn't even named in the ranking. The quarterback of the team, and Marcel, you guys can't call him a hater. Marcel is one of the beat writers that's always talking about the Dolphins, and he didn't mention Tua. Tua isn't even part of the discussion. Why is that? Because the last couple of games, while people think he's been balling out, people who look at the game go, ooh, hey man, there's something wrong here. Dropping snaps for fumbles to close out games, throwing interceptions. Something's weird here. Missing guys wide open. Something's not adding up. So at this point, when we talk about the Dolphins being number 6, they don't mention a quarterback. They don't mention the quarterback as one of the reasons why they rate them as highly as number 6. Not my numbers. Again, I'm just telling you what I see. David Furones. I think I'm saying his name correctly. David Furones. So, David wrote this. It says Mike McDaniel, they're talking about the interceptions against the Jets. Mike McDaniel said he didn't make good play calls on Tua's interceptions. So remember earlier I said to you that zero blitz against Kansas City where he dropped the snap and people thought Waddle was open, but it was a zero blitz and he ran the play. And then it says Mike McDaniel said he didn't make good play calls on Tua's interceptions. I posed a question and people got pissed off at me. I'm like, wait a second. I come up to the line as a quarterback and I see a zero blitz. Those of you, if Captain Swole's here, he'll tell you, I walk up to the line, I see a zero blitz. What am I doing? I'm audibling out of that play. I know, hey, my guys are outmanned. They're bringing 6 or 7 guys. I audible out of that play. Tua didn't audible. Didn't make an audible. Why not? Elite quarterback would know you got to audible out of that play. So then I saw this by David Ferronis. And I go, wait a second. Mike McDaniel said he didn't make good play calls onto his interceptions. So I said, the coach didn't make the good play call? Meaning the coach saw the defense wasn't straight for his play that he called. Why didn't Tua audible out of it? NFL quarterback, you want to be MVP caliber, you want to be elite, you walk up and see the coach has basically called the wrong play for the defense that you can see in front of you, and you just go with it? I mean, I asked if people got pissed off at me. I'm like, that jumps off the page at me. That's not hating on Tua. That's just a question I would have asked in the press conference. I would have said, hey, Mr. Mike, why did Tua audible out of your play call? Is he not allowed to audible out? So you've had 2 games now? 2. Where you, after the game, have said, oh, that was my fault. I called the wrong play. Seriously? I'm walking out of the huddle and I see all this stuff here and I'm like, hey, this is not going to work. Let me check my armband to see what I can dial up because this shit ain't going to work. But you run it anyway. Your elite quarterback, MVP caliber quarterback, runs plays against defenses that he knows, and I say he, Mike McDaniel knows isn't going to work. Against the Chiefs, you couldn't call a timeout. Why didn't you call a timeout against the Jets? Hey, Tua, that ain't going to work. Oh, okay. What do you want me to do? Are you seeing these things now? You think Barry's being rough on Tua, or are people saying stuff in the news that should take you aback and go, hey man, how's that going to work in December and January where they're going to disguise things and these are the best defenses in the league? Again, that wasn't my tweet. That was his tweet. And again, he's quoting Mike McDaniel, just like the other ones quoted Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel said he didn't make good play calls onto his interceptions. Anybody in here who's played football at a higher level will tell you, okay, so when you break the huddle and you don't see what you think you see, you change the play. There was a tweet going around where Jason Kelsey, before he snapped the ball, he turned around and told Jalen Hurts, hey, we ain't running that, man. Change the play. There's people on the line who should just said, Tua, that shit ain't going to work, man. Change the play. Nobody recognized that the play that Mike McDaniel called, that he said he called, was going to work against the way the defense had presented itself. Again, go look and see if Brady ever said that. Did Belichick ever say, I called the wrong play, so Tom threw an interception? Andy Reid, I called the wrong play, and that caused Patrick to throw an interception. You ain't going to see that. These are the type of things that Barry looks at and goes, problem. I'm bringing it up to you. A lot of you guys don't want to hear it. I understand. Barry's hating. He's the best quarterback ever. I understand. But that's what I see. And I try to basically show you, hey, it's not Barry saying it. It's not coming from me. It's me looking, watching, and reading what's going on. And when I see stuff like McDaniels said he didn't make good play calls on Tua's interceptions, as far as I know, Mike McDaniel doesn't have a wired helmet and is not sticking his hands under Connor Williams' butt. That is Tua Tagovailoa. So why, and if you guys are upset with me, you tell me. Why did Tua run plays against defenses that he knew weren't the right plays to run? I was a center. I know full well when I would walk up to the line, if I had to call out blocking assignments and I'm screaming them out to the guard and he's yelling it to the tackle, and then the quarterback has to see where people are going, and then he would say, hey, we can't run this play. Hold on, kill. You've watched football games, right? You've watched football games where guys come up to the line of scrimmage and go, kill, kill, kill. What do you think they're doing right there when they say that? Peyton Manning, Omaha, Omaha, Omaha. I'm alerting everybody, hey, what we had called ain't it. That ain't going to work. Kill, kill, kill. We're going to do something else now. Okay, kill, kill, kill. Red 42, red 42. We're changing the play. Why didn't Tua do that? He's an elite candidate quarterback. He's an MVP level quarterback. Why did Tua not go kill, kill, kill? Didn't do it in Kansas City. Didn't do it in New York. I'm asking you right now. Those of you who think Barry's being too hard, I'm asking you right now, why didn't Tua change the play that Mike McDaniel said was the wrong play? I'd love to see some of these answers. Let's see there. What's it say? Please hate, please hate more. Oh God, I'm not hating. Okay. Here come the excuses. He's a young quarterback getting rid of the ball quickly. Of course, there are bad decisions in there. Hey, I got no clue. Yeah, this is what I expect. You have no clue, Barry. Yeah, I have no clue. Okay. Derek, you're absolutely right. He's throwing into windows. Absolutely. He said, I pointed out on the last play of the Kansas City game, McDaniels let him no time, but to your point, probably would not have mattered. I love it how people get pissed off at me, and I'm not doing anything but showing you what is being said. So do you disagree? And it's funny to me because when you say these things and you're saying, well, Barry, you have no idea. Okay, tell me what the idea was. When David Ferrona said the coach did make the play call, so Tua threw it anyway. What does that mean to you? I'm sorry, as many huddles as I've been in, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But yeah, it's Barry hating. Barry's hating. Barry is trolling us. Oh, I love this stuff. Why am I trolling? I'm showing you stuff. I didn't write any of it. None of what I've showed you is my tweets. None of what I've showed you. I've showed you people who are talking in the locker room, reporters that Mike McDaniel is talking to, and you're like, no, it can't be true. Heresy. Oh my God, hater. You can't take it, but it's real. You get pissed off at me for? My goodness. Well, okay, why? He's not elite. Yeah, he could be. He could get there. He has the talent to get there. But something is wrong. There's something there that's problematic. I said, Miami Max says, you are loved as much as Tua. He's learning a new system and we're finally winning. Why all the confusion? Don't know. But if you're having confusion against bad teams, again, you got to take a 3 or 4 week run against the best teams in the NFL. And at that point, and I remember saying to people in a video that once the Raiders game was over, the rest, like 4 or 5 weeks, was going to be just Cupcake City, and people are going to forget what happened. They're just going to completely forget. And that's exactly what's happening, is that people are going to become punch drunk by the time, ideally, the Dolphins could be 11-3 before they got to hit that stretch. So if they're 11-3 going into that stretch, people are going to be flying high, absolutely off their minds, not realizing that the stretch of games that they're playing against either rookie quarterbacks, scrub quarterbacks, or just a second-year quarterback. They're not even playing elite quarterbacks on the other side. Tim Boyle, Aiden McConnell, Tim Boyle again, Will Levis, Sam Howell. I don't think anyone goes to sleep at night. I'm sure Javon Holland and Jalen Ramsey aren't losing sleep knowing they've got to face those quarterbacks. Think about that. Tim Boyle, what's his name? Will Levis. You just played Aiden O'Connell, and then you've got Sam Howell. I mean, it's amazing. And nobody's having that foresight to look down and go, what happens in those last 3 games coming up? Did you watch what happened? And anyway, let me just move on. Are we all in agreement on finishing 12-5? We can all agree on that much, right? So if in order for the Dolphins to finish 12-5, you're assuming they're going to beat the Bills, right? Because you think they're only going to lose 2 more. So two out of those 3 is what you're assuming. You're thinking Bills will lose, and possibly Ravens, and possibly Cowboys. Now understand, though, you guys think I'm trolling. I think the Dolphins are capable of winning all 3 of those games. They will be in all 3 of those games. There is no way that they are not competitive with those teams. But at the same time, they could lose those 3 games and go be 11-6. Who knows? We'll see as it goes. Is Herbert elite? No. He's far from elite, obviously. Let's define elite. To me, elite means you have to have had at least one piece of hardware. Conference championship, not a division, a conference championship or a Super Bowl. Division, that ain't hardware. That's not where you want to be. A conference championship and a Super Bowl win. That's elite. People bandy it about. There's too many things that don't qualify for that. You're absolutely right here. There is only one elite quarterback in the NFL at this moment, and that person is Patrick Mahomes. Every other quarterback are, I won't say pretenders, they're contenders. I think Lamar Jackson is a contender. I think Trevor Lawrence is a contender. I think Tua obviously could be a contender. But if they don't do it, then they are indeed pretenders. Did I see... this one, did you see Tyreek's interview saying the Dolphins are a better team than the Chiefs when they won the Super Bowl? What's he supposed to say? I mean, seriously, what's he supposed to say? And he's obviously not telling the truth, because who's the Dolphins tight end that matches Travis Kelce? Who's the offensive line that matches the Chiefs' offensive line? Defensive line? Yeah, they're definitely comparable. Defensive secondary? Yeah, I would give the nod to the Dolphins. So no, I don't believe Tyreek. I think Tyreek has been trying to pump things up the entire season. All right, let me see what else I got here before we go. Oh, okay. So earlier I talked about this. Let me just show this. NFL passing yard leaders. And this is as of, I believe, today. Yeah, that's today. So, as of right now, Sam Howell is the number 1 passing yard leader, and yes, he has played one more game. C.J. Stroud, Josh Allen, and then Tua. Does that mean anything? Absolutely not. I only put this up here to show you guys that those kind of numbers don't mean anything to me, shouldn't mean anything to you, because what is the one thing in common? What is the one thing in common with number 1, 2, and 3? Well, I'll tell you. Number one, the thing in common with 1, 2, and 3 is they're all on teams that probably may not make the playoffs. Interesting, isn't it, that the top yardage quarterbacks may not make the playoffs? Conversely, look at the bottom. Look at the bottom. If you took the Chargers out of there, look what you see at the bottom. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott. Do you see the difference there? People want to look at yardages and say it means so much when the people leading in yardage are for the most part, the 3 guys who may not get into the playoffs, whereas the guys who are definitely getting into the playoffs are sitting at the bottom. So why would I put any credence in how many yards somebody has thrown? Why would you put any credence in how many yards somebody has thrown for? Nobody here is going to say that Sam Howell is better than Tua Tagovailoa. Not a single person here. Not a single one. But look at the bottom. I mean, just look at that. If you took Herbert out, his team sucks. You got Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, number 1 team in the league. Lamar Jackson, 9-3. They don't need to throw for 400 yards a game. It doesn't matter. What matters is the win. That's what I want to see happen with the Miami Dolphins. I want to see the Dolphins win. Win when it counts. I want to see this stat here changed. That's what I'm all about. I don't care if Tyreek gets 2,000 yards. I don't care if Tua throws for 400 yards a game. That's what I want to see. I want to see things change where you're actually winning. You're actually getting into the playoffs and winning. And those yardage numbers that everyone touts and is so happy with, they don't mean diddly to me. I don't care. Those are vanity plates on a Volkswagen. Doesn't mean anything. Absolutely nothing. I know some of you guys are like, what do you mean? Doesn't mean anything. I want to see what this team does in December and January and get them into the playoffs. That is straight talk. That has been straight talk. That's where I am as a fan. I'm sorry if it ticks some people off, but TD win games. So, yeah, I guess they do because Jalen Hurts did it, right? Absolutely. Number 1 passing offense and number 2 rushing offense. So? Why are people so hung up on stats? There is one stat. I'm going to close with this. There's one stat that matters and only one stat. That one stat is, did you win the last game of the season? That's it. That's all I want to hear. I don't give a shit how many yards you got. Did you win the last game of the season? So my last question to you is, if Tua threw for 5,000 yards, if Tua threw 50 touchdowns, if Tyreek got 2,000 yards, and they got beat in the opening round of the playoffs, would you consider the season a success? And I think that's where the difference is between me and some other people. Me, if you get beat in the opening round of the playoffs, no, your season's failed. You failed. Don't care what kind of numbers you put up, doesn't really matter. But I bet you a bunch of you guys, did you win on Sunday? That's all I care. And last Sunday. Wow, I didn't realize that the Bills are the number 2 offense by ESPN. Number 2 offense. Come on, man. Exactly. Interesting. People are hung up on stats because they don't know any better. That, or they're gambling or something, because there is not a single stat other than, did you score more points than the other team in your last game of the season, that matters. That's it. Did you score more points? None of it matters. Not many interceptions. Nothing matters. Did you win your last game of the season? And so I said, I questioned, hold on. Have I told the younger generation that the Dolphins' December collapse narrative was created during the Marino era because they were always the last undefeated team before a loss? But yeah, exactly. Bingo. Brett Dodger. Yeah, just win, baby. I don't care about your stats. It's funny watching the Eagles and Bills, and I don't know. See if I could find what the final stats were in that game. Let me see if I can find that, bring it up here. But it was just really interesting. In the rain, the cold. Where are we? Let's see here. Buffalo overtime game, 10-1 box score. Let me get to here. Okay. This is the box score for the Buffalo Eagles game. That's it right there. Jalen Hurts was 18 for 31 and for only 200 yards. Josh Allen was 29 of 51 for 339 yards and 2 touchdowns. Who do you think was happier? Whose fan base was happier? Whose coaching staff was happier? The kid who threw for 200 measly yards? Or the guy who threw for 339? I'm pretty sure it was the guy who threw for 200 yards. Numbers didn't mean diddly. We won the game. Tough game. We fought it out. We got out with the win. I threw for 200 yards. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It only matters to fans. The team doesn't care. I guarantee you that locker room across the hall was upset. This one was jubilant. Not a player in that locker room went, "Hey, how many yards did Jalen throw for?" People would have been looking like, "What? Well, how many yards receiving did AJ Brown get?" "I don't know. We won." "Oh. Well, how many interceptions did Fred get?" "I don't know. Not keeping track. We won. We're 10-1. That's all that matters, people. You got to get off these stats and start looking deeper behind the stats and understanding this team wants to go places. They're going to have to change, and the fan base has to look at the right things. Otherwise, you may be really upset come December or January. In any event, thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed it. It's my new style of content here. Going to get you guys engaged. Click the like button on your way out, please.
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
And